Hello, thank you for being here. I didn't think I could make it. Maybe use afterwards another microphone, to be quite honest, because I was in bed until a few minutes ago, and I'm a bit ill, but I try my best. Yes, about curation, news, and machines. To be quite frank, I'm confronted with this question about sort of, I'm with Watson, I'm also head of the IT team, and they always said, so like, we need algorithms, we need, we have to deal with news much more from a machine or information side point of view. And I was always critical. We tried various ways, and I will give you one example. Like we have on Watson, with one thing that recommends you, so like this may be the next article that interests you. The IT put so much energy in it, and I did let it happen. So okay, so if you read this may be your next interest. It doesn't click at all. And the best, by far best recommendation is meistgelesene Geschichten, most read articles. And I think that shows a lot about the problem of why things that use really well with Spotify or Amazon don't really work so well with news. Because the problem is, like with Amazon, I kind of know I want this book. I give really specific informations, and so like I search for this book. I go actively there and try to find it. With Spotify, I listen to this music, and then sort of like, you can use that. You can sometimes, it's quite a simple algorithm, because like this musician has been at this time there and there and there, and they've got various overlays in common. The problem about news is that you don't search for news. We are all used that news get brought to us and presented to us, and we want to ask very much as well more, who are they presented from, who are they written from? And that's where the machines and the curation of the news really clash, I think. And I give you one example. If I'm a really heavy YouTube user, so like I get my news from, or a lot of information from YouTube. As I go there and sort of like specific documentary. At the minute I watch everything about Henry Kissinger for some reasons. But then you see sort of like, what's the next recommendation? What's recommended next? With Henry Kissinger it's quite okay, but like if you go there and say sort of like, okay, I want to watch a documentary about polar bears, then the next recommendation will be about the next film about bears, and then there will a brown bear, there will be a Russian bear, and then the next film you get recommended is Russia Today, Putin, our great Russian bear, he will sort us out, he's a fantastic bloke, and Assad in Syria is quite a nice man too. And that's where the problem starts, about the recommendations, and that's where the trust goes, and that's where the brand goes. And I'm not saying we shouldn't use any of that, but I just really know now how important it is. Like if you origin content, how important the brand and the trustworthiness is. And I have to say I underestimated that maybe like 2 or 3 years, but I see it becoming more and more important again. The more we realize how much information there is, and that there's far too much information trying to reach us, and that we realize how much information there is that tries to manipulate us. And I think we're not even there about like talking about this, but we're realizing is it like this cologne thing, like which we realized on New Year's Day, where you see sort of like machine curated information, and I add Facebook algorithms in it. Yeah? When they start to really develop their own lifespan and total own dynamics, while all the control mechanisms, which a lot of news editorials are bad, and the police information service is also not always the best, but they deliver information in certain rules, and they can just sort of like and that's our society contracts are involved in that, and all that. That's how we used it and how we want it. And then you realize that the own life, this machine created information starts to develop, and at the end of the day fails completely, because it's a massive stream of misinformation which happened there. And that really shows where you need curated news, and where machine curated news, even with a big community, start to draw a very strange picture and develop really dangerous dynamics. But I want to tell you also something, like, I started Watson, and about 5 years ago, without stuff like Facebook, social media, and various social medias, we wouldn't have had a chance. So I'm not all against even algorithms or whatever. You need to know them, and they change completely, and you have to follow them. The bad thing is, like, about machines. Machines in Facebook, for example, or machines in Twitter. I spoke to quite a few people, like, because our dream there is also so, like, okay, you've got it sussed, you get it programmed, and then it does always and then it fulfills the needs. Trouble is, like, Facebook might call it algorithm, call it, I don't know the English word, Willkür. They just change whatever they feel like they want to change, and you have to adapt to that all the time. And they do everything that a machine won't sort out their algorithms. But I think so, like, from what I told you, I think so, like, about I like to use the virality of our content, because I am on the content side. The machines are on the discovery of the content side, and to get our content to the people. I mean, which is a new sentence for news people, because they thought the people come to get the content. We deliver the content. How do you do that? How do you've got to master the distribution. Their machine can help you. We all know how a search engine can work and optimize it so Google finds you. We've got the various ways of how you present yourself on Facebook. With Twitter, it's obvious 140 lines are the maximum and stuff like that. So you've got to know that and use that. But the main thing for me is, I think, so, like, you really have to find the community who actually wants this news and who gives you a feedback. I think the feedback culture is the big new thing for news people like me and my colleagues, because we were all used to we send out, and I think the main task is to receive also. And because if you don't receive, you will never build a community, and you need the community at the end of the day, because they deliver content, they respond to you, they identify, and in the end they give you the trust, and if they trust you, they give you further contribution. They start to send you really interesting stuff that may fit to the content you just created. You can add this and this and this. And I want to tell you an example how I think we managed that really well. I don't know if you're familiar with one format on Watson called PickDump. PickDump users? Okay. PickDump fans? Yes. PickDump Army, so it's the latest development. It's something really. We steal a lot of pictures from the internet, yeah, and through all from whatever, 9gag, Flickr, Board Panda, all these sites of, like, a lot of animated GIFs, that sort of stuff. So, like, a lot of them we produce ourselves. One person developed a certain way of presenting this enormous amount of information that flies through the internet and through the various sites, and condenses it to a format which is PickDump, which is basically an assembly of a lot of pictures, and she really finds and hits the tone of linking them together. And that's more or less, that's the format. But how do you make this format, how do you get it alive? You really have to find the community. Some people started to really love it, picked them, oh yes, we love it. So we kind of like asked them, we opened like some tools that they can send, for example, their contributions. They can send links, pictures, GIFs, and stuff like that. That was the program side. Like, you know, don't have your commentaries. Just force them into type. Just make them send you pictures or any kind of content, which they did. And then there was like a silly example, but that triggered it finally off. There was a discussion: is the plural of otter, the animal otter, is it otter or otten?
Picton says it's otten, which is amazing.
Okay, and there was like, you know, it's a silly thing and stuff like, and then they decided that the community thought so like we should watch it, we should say we should go to the zoo and see what it says there. That's accepted. So we said okay, we go to the zoo. So about 120, 150 people went to the zoo, to the otten cage. It was otter, but they said now it's otten anyway. We got this. Watson is now. What's a Patenschaft? Patenschaft. We sponsor now the fish otter from Zurich, and in the evening, so like we did a pick-dump party where about 500 or 600 people came. And these picked-up people, they meet and contribute more and more and more and more. And we deliver it, we distribute it through Facebook. It's got its own Facebook group. It got a push alert, so everybody who subscribes to Pickdump gets a push alert on Wednesday, 12 o'clock. And that's got now about 25,000 subscribers, and why do they do it? Because like Lina, who created this format, they know her. She's a person. They really love her, and she's in contact with them. And if we just did, there's thousands of pickdumps, you know, thousands of like in the internet, other formats. None of them really hits the tone so well. None of it can activate a community like that, and I think so. Like that really shows, from my point of view, like where the machines can help you. You can scan through all these silver sites who assemble the same way, but you have to condense it to an own format, and you only do that by finding your language. And I doubt very much that we will be able to solve that through an algorithm in the same quality. The problem is there is too much information, and we don't want all the information. We want to have specific information, and we want it from somebody who we trust, or who we like the brand, or we can get in contact to. And that is a completely different thing than with for example, music, Spotify. Okay, next song, fine, is it good or not? Or Spotify radio, or Amazon, or one of my favorite examples was also always so like where we can use intelligence to create information. It also shows the limitation. At this Millionen quiz thing, Günther Jauch, you know, they were always the most intelligent people, and at 500,000 euro they had to get the first joker out, and they also all the time used the Publikumsjoker. They asked the crowd, is it this, and this, and that was always the most efficient joker. And but like it was because it was the decision had to be made out of 4 proposals, so it was always really clear. But the crowd was also only about to 90% right, 10% were wrong, but these 90% meant, okay, you're sure, you take this one, and you were always correct about it. But if you would ask the crowd, what is it, and you wouldn't give them 4 proposals, you would not get an answer. And that shows a bit the limitation about what is the news. enormous and endless amount of news, and what is the most important news. If it's sort of like from these four various news, you can get a result. And I think also that this endless amount of information we've got, this helpless little editor who has to find his way through all this, like, you know, with all the crafts he learned and all the support of the machines, but he will always be, if he really thinks of like what do the people know, the majority of the people know, he will have an amount of proposals which is then the 5 o'clock news. And because we have to face it, like, you know, what's the most important news is different to every single one, but we really want to know what do the others know, because otherwise we can't talk, because otherwise we just have like specific information. With all our personal or specific information we've got, we have we can really have specialized dialogues with the colleague in Hong Kong who's at the same task, but we can't go and ride in the tram, or if it's in a embarrassing moment on the men's toilet, you don't know what to talk about. So you have to talk about the weather or the news, and it has to be the news everybody knows about. That's one of the really big advantages of, for example, a product like 20 Minuten, because everybody knows what's in 20 Minuten, so everybody can talk about it if they read it or not. And that's completely against what's the best news. The news is because it has been presented, and that used to be this Tagesschau news, the Lagerfeuer, the bonfire, where everybody in the family was sitting ahead, or everybody in the society, and that's what you could talk about. And I think it is important to talk about it. It's actually more important if it is the best news, because it's the dialogue that makes it. And so this limitation of the individual compared to the possibility of like delivering all the news from a machine, I think the limitation of the human being may even be an advantage, because we don't want just the best news. We want the news everybody, a lot of people, we can talk about it. I think that's much more important. So I'm quite skeptical that machines will really sort it out in the news and information environment. I'm absolutely sure in other places it's all steered by algorithms, and I'm totally open to a fiery discussion with all you machine friends.